agree? To just kind of settle in and just, know that life is taking its course and all of that. So this year, as Norma mentioned, our theme is Open at the Top, living in the mystery of the things that we don't yet know. And so that brings up a lot of questions, right? So what if? What if is the big theme. What if? Keep asking yourself. Because I feel like a large part of what I'm here to do, my ministry, is to help people break apart their paradigms. Those false beliefs that no longer serve. And there's a whole lot of things that are now falling apart that we maybe trusted, believed were a certain way, and finding out that they're no longer that. And it kind of feels for me like the rug got pulled out from under me, and now like, whoa, what's going on now, right? What's true, what's real? So what if there is more to life than what meets the eye? What if there is something bigger that is in charge, that kind of knows what is happening? What about that? What if there's more to life? What if this is not an accident, right? So that's kind of what we believe here, that it's not an accident, that there is more, that there is something that some of us call God, right? You can call it different names, call it universe, call it love, call it life, call it whatever you want, but there is something that's bigger than all of us that brought us here in this moment. And it is no coincidence, no mistake that you are here today for this message. What if we're all made of God's stuff? What if this thing that we call God is really all present everywhere, which means that we would have to be part of that, right? Yeah, that's big. That's really big. What if we are the co-creators of our reality? What if, because we are God's stuff, that we are of that same thing, that we share in that creative essence? What if? And then what if this is not an ending? What if this dark time, this period that we are in, is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb? What if it's a new beginning, right? What if we are here to be the solution? Lots of what ifs, and we're going to have more of those what if questions next week during Circle. So, we are exactly where we need to be, doing exactly what is ours to do. And today, I feel like, is another proof of that. So Dasha and Pam talked a little bit about the hub. How many of you had heard about the hub before? Great. We did kick it off. We had a conversation about it during our annual meeting about a month ago. And so the hub is a way, again, for us to use our space, but it's not just about the space. The hub is a bigger idea. There's, for example, people that want to be part of this community that don't necessarily need to rent space here, can be part of this community through our directory. We're talking also about making it possible for members of the hub to barter with one another. Wouldn't that be cool? Imagine you spend 4 hours out there raking leaves, and now your back is hurting, and you got all of that stuff that goes with it, but you could take your 80 barter dollars or whatever we designate and go and see Norma and get yourself a massage, right? And then Norma could take those 80 barter dollars and go use it somewhere else for some other service. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. So that's what we've been talking about is there are things, again, that are falling apart, but what do we want to put in place of that? What kind of community do we want to live in? How do we want to live our lives? And so it was about a month, it was the first Sunday in February. Was the first Sunday? Anyway, whatever day it was, we were having our annual meeting. We had service in the morning, and I did my thing, and then we had a potluck, and then we were having our meeting afterwards. So during the potluck, this gentleman walks in and says, can I stay? Can I join you for your meeting? I was like, well, sure. I mean, I can't hardly get members to stay for an annual meeting, but if you want to stay, of course, hang out, grab a plate, you're welcome to join us, have something to eat. And he says, sure. So he stayed for our annual meeting. And at the end of that meeting, he stands up and he says, I know why I'm here. I know why I'm here. This thing that you're talking about, this directory, this platform, I've started it in 2013. I've been working on this thing for over 13 years, this platform that I thought was going to take us a year and a half maybe to get through. And this gentleman walked in the door and said, "Here it is." So come join us, Simon. That's a crazy thing when you live in surrender. And you live in surrender and faith, the kinds of things that happen and the people that come into your realm. Let me read you his bio. Simon Swerdlow is the CEO and founder of an online platform called WeCo Online. And WeCo stands for We Connect, We Collaborate, We Create. We co-create. Yes, we co-create. So it's a unique collaborative social networking platform that's designed to help members use their talents, interests, and gifts to manifest their dreams. Following his arrival in the US at 22, and after attending SciSim School of Business, Simon joined a chocolate company as a floor employee and working his way to become CEO of that company. He grew the business to having locations in over 56 different countries, with over 200 licensees and revenues exceeding $30 million. He left that company in 2013 to start WeCo and to travel the world. Home is between Florida and New York. I think he's currently scoping out Ocala for maybe a place to hang out for a while, huh? Wouldn't that be fun?
Thank you.
So, isn't that trippy? Isn't that crazy? I thought this whole barter directory thing was going to happen way later in here. The universe just brought this person into our realm. Amazing, right? Thank you, Spirit.
Thank you.
So Simon, before we get into WeCo, before we talk about that, I'd love for the community to hear a little bit about your background and your story. And even before coming to the U.S., you had some major things happen in your life.
Yep.
You want to share about that?
Yes, a little bit. Thank you very much. Thank you, Cindy. It's not my usual place to be sitting like on the stage, so please bear with me. I'll get a little, I'll get a hang of it, but story. I was born close to in Eastern Europe in Belarus. It was when I was 9 years old. We lived 20 miles away from Chernobyl. So the nuclear reactor exploded, and I was just 9 years old, and as basically days and weeks went on, I started seeing, my reality was like a couple of funerals every day, really, in the streets, and they didn't do it in a discreet way, in funeral homes or whatever. They would just take the procession during the streets. Every time I would come back from school, I would just see funerals. That kind of was my normal reality. And a lot of people got evacuated, and I didn't know, you're 9, 10, 11 years old, you don't know any better, like that's your world. And when I was 13, I was, from this like dire situation, I was evacuated to go to Israel, to a completely different environment. From being a Soviet child, overnight I was exposed to a completely different, really diametrically opposite reality, which I was like, wait a second, is that you can see, because all the truths that I was told, they ceased to be truth. I was introduced different set of truths. It was kind of a little surreal experience for me to just, wait a second, so what is truth? What is reality? Like you were just told, a set of different rules and set of different things, and overnight you find yourself in a different reality, and now different people tell you a different set of, so what is truth? What is reality? So when you're 13 years old, you can't help it but just start questioning everything. Like all the people's, I don't know, agendas, what they tell you, like, why is it truth? But I've heard a different thing from somebody else. You start comparing. So that's kind of how I started going to. If there's anything specifically you'd want me to shed some light on, but it's basically, I think that moment really defined me to really start seeking, so what is reality? What's this truthful? And I realized, in due course, that we all create really our reality. We can either shift responsibility to someone else, or we can just say, you know what, I am a master of my universe, and I can just do my thing. And that's how I kind of subsequently from little village in Eastern Europe, I came to the US. It's all that mindset. You know, I've heard it from, I think Henry Ford said it, whatever they ascribe it to different people. Whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you're both right. So whether you believe that you can accomplish something or you already kind of say, I'm not going to accomplish, it's basically, that's really the difference. Because every battle starts in your mind, every dream starts really in your mind. So if you really have a conviction that, yes, of course I'm going to accomplish, you don't see obstacles in front of you when you have the fait accompli, what they call it. You already know that nothing is going to come out of anyway. You don't even want to try, or sometimes if you do, the first obstacle that you encounter is like, oh, I knew that it's not going to work out anyway. There's your proof for that. For somebody who is optimistic, he just says, it's not an obstacle, it's a tiny little impediment, it's a little challenge. It makes the journey that much more interesting and challenging and fun. But again, I think that, so I guess the main message my entire childhood and my teens went into realizing that really what you put in your brain as your kind of program, as your operating system, that's what guides you through life. You can change it at any moment, you can adjust it, you can upgrade it, just like with a computer, or you can having it stuck and collecting dust. Or, just because this computer was created a couple of decades ago, it's already old. Wipe off the dust and say, you know what, today is the beginning of the rest of your life.
You know what I think is fascinating? That this person at 13 years old saw these two different ways of life, and instead of saying, which one should I believe? Should I go here? Should I go there? He's like, screw it all. I'm going to believe what is true in my heart, what I feel is true for myself. And I think that's really just so, super cool. It took me a long time to get there, and I was not 13 for sure. Maybe 45, I don't know, something like that, right? To realize that, wow, all of this stuff is just some nonsense. I need to do what is right for me, and he knew that at 13, so that's I think,
Yeah, thank you.
How many of you feel like you're a little bit outsiders, like you don't play in the lines like everybody else? Anybody else here?
Oh,
So
it's
we have a whole room full of these people who understand that way of being that
Yeah.
you are. Okay, so that's 13 to, how long were you in Israel?
For just a year.
Just a year.
Oh, and then I had to go
and
back.
then went
to,
back.
yeah,
Then went back.
It was crazy.
So Belarus wasn't great growing up. That was not an ideal place.
You just live in this gray Soviet reality. I don't know. It's like North Korea. I don't know what you can equate it to. And then you get exposed to this sunny, different place, and then you have to go back a year later. Now at 14, knowing another language, seeing another part of the world, you get to re-expose to your original. That's kind of, speaking of which. So speaking of what you just tagging on what you just mentioned, it just for me it was really mentally very difficult to attach myself to any of the imposed reality. I just said, what, screw it. Not because it's just changing those masks or attaching to something that I don't inherently believe in just became such a draining really job that it's why?
So then you decide you're going to come to the U.S.,
Yeah.
right? And tell about that. 22 years old?
So what happened is that, around when I was 20, I had a really good friend, back then, and I thought we were really close friends. And one day I find out that he just left for U.S. and without telling me a thing. And I was just, really? Is that what friends do? No, I got really I don't know, the word is, it got under my nerve. It's like I'm sitting here and just my friend kind of left me behind. I don't see how it's going to play out that I'm just going to bite the bullet and just okay, I guess goodbye. It got really so under my nerve. If he was able to do it, and it's not easy, from here you can basically get a ticket and travel anywhere in the world. From that part, you have to have visa and permit. It's a whole thing. Nobody even tries to do that. But remember, I had the mindset whether if you set your mind to something, you can accomplish it. So it's okay, now I know my next destination. Thanks, friend. Yeah, again, whatever, some people that we can get really upset with could be the very same people that push us to the next challenge. That's another thing, like how we can either sit and be like trapped with like, oh, how he or she could do this to me, and I'm this poor thing, and I'm this victim. Say, you know what? Sorry, I'm just a little bit reliving the moment, but thanks for providing the fuel and the spark so I can really take off to my next chapter. And if you really set this, and you start like owning this, not just hoping or praying or believing or expecting, whatever, just no, there's no other outcome but the one that I choose. So, and it was like, okay, so I know my next destination. 2.5 years later, I was already in the US on the student visa. It's like, what are you going to do? Like, you don't speak the language. You have no penny to your name. I said, I don't know. Like, I'll figure it out. Let me just come. I'm legally here. I'll learn the language. We'll see. Then I went to school. I went to business school. And then my next challenge was I want to bring my parents. And everybody's like, but it's impossible to do because no one does that. Like, you cannot do it. I said, you know what? I've already heard it somewhere. A couple of times in my life that I've heard that something is impossible. I said, okay, maybe, impossible, maybe because you didn't try it, maybe because you don't see it, maybe because you're not willing to put in the work to do it. So I was able to, invite and arrange all the paperwork and everything to bring my older parents. Said, like, this is crazy. 2.5 years later, my parents already were here. Again, this is all, every initiative starts with like, this is what I want to accomplish, and a bunch of people say to you, nah, this is stupid, like no one does that. And it's the same setup, like it's the same setup. And the more I heard that it's impossible, the more I knew every subsequent initiative is like, that must be the right move, that must be the right initiative. Like, thank you very much for all the assurances, let me just continue. And then I joined the company as a floor employee, basically because they sponsored my green card, from a student visa, they got me the work, and then I love the concept. We were printing images on chocolates. I don't know if you guys ever saw those little lollipops where you see your face on it and you can really, or chocolate business cards and everything. I just it was fun. We were providing fun at like parties and printing, so I enjoyed, but now I had my, parents, everybody concurrently. I finished school, I got married and everything. I had so many responsibilities, like, okay, I have to make it now, financially and everything else. So I was like working all, 24/7 really to make it, and then I started developing the thing internationally, and we got to 56 different countries. And then, I found myself in Jupiter, Florida. It's like, wow, I'm 35 years old, from a Chernobyl little childhood, just through the mindset and hard work and not taking no for answers, just like, and again, not causing troubles, just simply living and following my path. It's just, okay, not bad. But is that what it's all about?
I love that because
Yeah.
this is what we teach here, right? In New Thought communities, whether you're in Science of Mind or you're in Unity, that we co-create our reality, right? That is how we are created in the image and likeness of the Creator, that we have that capacity. But most people don't step up and actually do it. And you did it without all of the teaching, without all of those people leading you and all the gurus and stuff to be able to come to your own understanding. And
Yeah.
so I just really appreciate that.
Thank you.
That truth can come in so many different ways, right? What were you saying? The power of the will, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
so then making chocolate
Yeah.
did you get tired of making chocolate, or
What?
it's like
No.
who is the guy that was recruited by?
Basically, in
Microsoft.
in the year 2013, we had our little mini convention of our franchisees. Some people from Saudi Arabia came, some people from like Bethesda. Anyway, we had a little mini convention in Mount Pleasant. It was in South Carolina. And this movie about Steve Jobs came out, and we just went together, after the convention was over, we just went to, watch a movie. And I just saw so many, like, so many similarities, I guess, so many different things, like how Apple was like created and what he had to go through and everything. It's just sort of a little got into my head, and then I started reading a little bit more about Steve Jobs' biography and everything, and I just, what a fascinating biography. And what stuck with me, how when he was building already, Apple, um, he attracted a president of Pepsi, who subsequently actually fired him or whatever. He attracted him with the phrase, he goes, are you going to be selling a sugar water for the rest of your life, or let's come with me and we'll change the world? And it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, and here is me, who is, even though like CEO of the company and everything, it's just like, I know that I will, everything that I already set up my mind to will work anyway. I'm sorry, it sounds arrogant, but you sort of develop that confidence, almost like cockiness, which subsequently went to bite, I have to say. Because usually people who think that they know how to swim the best, they often drown. That's kind of in a way what, at times happened to me. And because you always, no matter what you accomplish, if you stay humble, then you keep accomplishing. The minute you think that you've got it all figured out, life, whatever universe finds the way to show us to, okay. Which is good, another challenge. Anyway, and I realized it's like, I don't want to sell chocolate for the rest of my life, because what really attracted me in developing franchises, it's not necessarily the chocolate, it started like that, but it's truly helping people to succeed, to thrive, to build businesses, to align teams and everything. This was such a rewarding experience when somebody was like, buying a job or buying themselves a franchise and they were thriving. This I don't know, this like sparks in the eyes, those thank you letters and everything, that was the most like rewarding part for me. And I said, you know what, the time will pass anyway. Like, if I'm like 100 years old, 80 years, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I'm looking at my autobiography, what do I want this to look like? That's kind of the question was to me, because the time will pass. I don't know what will happen, what will transpire, but the time will pass. Like, I know that one thing for sure. Let me just use the thing, because I don't know what will happen, but I know that the time will pass. So with that in mind, I don't want to sell chocolates. I really want to lean on, like, lock in on creating something that really help people to succeed in life, to really identify, to have this courage, to have this confidence, because I've started talking to people like around me, it's like, what do you need to be successful? Do I like translate right?
Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking about is how probably your early experiences with death and dying and all of that, like, I didn't have anything near that, but I did spend time working with people who were dying in hospice. And not to be morbid or none of that, and I bring it up frequently because it's really important that we realize that this human journey is just a vapor. I mean, it's so short that I think it's important for us to remember that and to realize that, so that we make our life the biggest, the best, like what we're here to do, right? That we do everything. You don't put it off till tomorrow. You don't pull it off till next year or next week or whatever, that you do that thing now, because we don't know how much time we have. None of us. None of us. So to live fully, which is what you've done and what you've shared through your life experience, I think is really, is really remarkable. And that's why he's sitting here. That's why we're having this conversation, because he's living, he's living that. Without having all of the teaching and all of that stuff, we find truth in so many different ways, don't we? We all come to that. So, but if somebody's there to lead you a little bit, or they say, you know what, I watched you put your hand on that stove and saw that it was hot, I don't need to do that. Right? Like, let's be smart. Go with somebody who has been there, done that, knows what they're doing, has come out the other side and can show you, So I really appreciate you sharing your story and your wisdom with us.
Thank you, thank you. And just on that note, I just never, at least me personally, and I saw most people in this room, I had a difficult time of like following someone like blindly. I was always attracted to this, like, okay, here's the, I don't know, toolkit, or here's the some wisdom. You figure it out. I say the same to my daughter. It's like I wish you the best and I want to help you, but I don't know your like what you really want, what you deeply. I cannot tell you. I can only share my experiences. So that's why it was difficult for me to really attach myself to follow any teachings, because every teaching that I would at least come across would tell you what to do, and I just like, don't tell me, as the expression goes, I don't know, don't tell me what to do and I won't tell you where to go, right? And so it's just like, it's just like
I like that one.
sorry. Yeah, I hope it's, and basically so the idea is that we have our paths are so individual, if you really like, and not that I'm trying to do things in spite, it's just certain things, I wake up in my own skin, you have a good day, you have a bad day, you have this mood, you have this part of challenges, whatever. It's, knowing how to be, it's almost like a self-defense. Knowing how to live, to have the tool how to live your own life and be comfortable in your own skin without necessarily following, give you that much more freedom, that much more confidence. Again, yes, it's important to learn from all the sources. You don't want to repeat the mistakes but blindly following just because what if it doesn't work for me? Okay, if it doesn't work, I don't take it. So I kind of started being more discerning into just, okay, great, I appreciate the information, I appreciate the tools, I appreciate the wisdom, very much so, because I don't want to, sometimes you waste a lot of energy and time repeating the mistakes that somebody has already done, but not taking them not just following them blindly, especially if you don't feel like it serves you well, So, yeah, so that's kind of, that's why, again, I've got a lot of bruises to show for this. A lot of people feel, oh, it should be it's safe for it, whatever. For me, I'm just not here in for the safety for that. Safety of what? Sitting and awaiting that life will happen to you? What is that safety? Just you try good things. You feel like you want to travel somewhere, travel. You want to, I don't know, meet someone, just meet them. You want to, work on something, just, start working. Who cares what anybody thinks about this? Let them worry about their own lives.
You want to meet some new people, you show up at a center for spiritual
Exactly
living where
right.
you don't even know what it is or who's there, and just walk in
Exactly.
and say, hello, here I am. Can I join your meeting?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And it's like, what is the worst? And then the next thing, and thank you again, Cindy. Thank you for, I understand that, it's just been over a month, right, since we've met, but it felt so serendipitous because I just didn't settle. I wanted this to happen. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, I didn't know what circumstances, but you just show up and you just observe. And then if the moment is there, you're there. Otherwise, if you're sitting at home and you're just sitting or in your own little dreams and aspirations, oh my God, what if it's not going to work out? Ask anybody. It's nobody's, yes, the famous expression goes that you better regret things that you have done than things that you haven't done.
Yes.
So that's really it. And it's just, okay, it's not going to work. What if I'm going to fail? There's no failure. Failure is just sitting and not doing anything. That's the only failure that I deeply, and once you start practicing, with everything else, once you start practicing, you don't know any different. That's become part of your nature. It becomes part of who you are. You don't need to, take any skill, cooking, driving, anything. It's you already sit in the car, you don't think too much. If you already been driving for a while, oh, where do I turn the thing? How do I start driving? You just start driving because first few times it's difficult with everything else. So if you want to just start something that you haven't started, just start doing it. And if people, and those who mind don't matter, those who matter don't mind, right?
Yes.
That's kind of what they say. I've learned a lot of expressions, right? For somebody who's not from this part of the world.
He also said something to me about if the thing is perfect by the time you get it out, you've waited too long. So okay, take a deep breath myself, right? Because I like to plan everything. I want to know as much as I can, everything, before I launch whatever it is. And, if it's perfect by the time you do it, it's too late. So here we are, diving in,
Right.
not knowing what is next. just that this whole thing just felt, like you said, it was so serendipitous. It was just, the timing is perfect, I think. So tell us now about WeCo. Tell us about
Thank you. Yeah. So going back to the point that really what I realized to myself is just like, okay, I had a really, after all the accomplishments and everything that I've done and everything was beautiful, I realized, my marriage was falling apart because I was always working, working, working. Really fell apart, I want to say. I haven't seen, even though I was, living in the same house with my then, 8 years old daughter, I barely saw her because I was always busy and working and contracts and exhibit, and people would come and franchisees and this and even I'm on the phone. It's like, Daddy is at home, but Daddy isn't at home. Like, what do you mean he's right here? Like, I cannot even play, but he's in his office working. Like, that kind of got like, wait a second. Okay, good. I have something to show on piece of paper. But then, as far as my little feelings, I just like, I don't like what's happening. Like, one part of my life really was good, but the inside of me, I've put everything on the line to accomplish that other part. It's like, wait a second, let's reset. So I realized that it's like, okay, so since the time will pass, I just like, okay, now let me just go back to bring, like, we start here with values, right? What are my values? Let's just start with a very, like, really clean slate. I've got my green cards, I've got, whatever, so my successes, everything. Let me start from a clean slate. What do I want from my life? Again, time will pass, nice. I want to do what I love. Okay, now I had to go back into like my skills and passions and everything else. What do I really love? I want to be surrounded by people that I enjoy to be with, because I don't feel like I'm competing, because I'm not like competitive type. I like to figure things out in collaborative fashion. Like, I like people who bring the best out of in me, and I bring the best out of them. I want to make money doing all of these things. I want to bring value. I want to live the famous work-life balance. Like a basic standard values, which I would guess that everyone or most people in this room would share. Just like a basic thing. I want to have flexibility of my schedule. I want to enjoy what I do. I want to feel good about my life. That's what I wanted. Like, okay, so let's see what it could be. I started talking to other people, and it turns out that I said, okay, what makes you happy, or why aren't you happy? And a lot of pointers, a lot of conversation went back to work, specifically work. It's like, oh, I hate my job. Like, how do you want me? It's like, I don't like what I do. I don't get paid enough. I hate my, boss. I don't like my colleagues. It's like, I hate the whole thing. I've chosen my profession because because like my mom insisted that like, you cannot be singer because the singers don't make enough money, so you have to go and become nurse. And, and I've started hearing these stories over and over again, too many of them, to realize that we have a lot of people have a shared, if we figure out our like work and basically source of income, which is, it's aligned with who we are and what we really bring to the world, and how we connect our passions and our skills in such a way where from one hand we feel great sharing them, and from other one, hand we feel great receiving something in exchange. That I thought of, that even though it's such a sensitive point for a lot of people, not much has been done really. Nobody's really locking in. Yes, there are some with different LinkedIn's or some job boards. So many like different initiatives, but every one of them, for me anyway, felt inhumane. Just like you put your resume, okay, now what? You put like, okay, you'll get to this job, okay, this is the job, this is what you do, 9 to 5 or whatever it is, this is your shift, there's your salary, by next, and if you're replaceable basically, if you don't like it, or we don't like you, you're out in the street, and that's the end of it. And it's like, it has nothing to do, now if you take the two, then you start, it's like, wait a second, on one hand, what we want is to be this dignified way of just living, bringing out our talents, learning the things that we love, enjoying each other's, process of collaboration. sort of like how we've started like doing this, right? It's a joy. You don't like, oh, it's another day at the office. It's like, no, it's actually joy. That's what you want to do, and you also get paid to do this. It's like, how can you beat that? So I realized that, wait a second, no, if nobody's working, now I'm just bringing for a second, quick second, my entire mindset, just because no one else is doing this, it doesn't mean that it's perfect, you know. Who would be a better person, somebody like crazy as me, to just, okay, I guess I have to start this, you know?
Most people are not willing to do the work that it takes to live their passion, though.
I absolutely agree with you, but you know, what I've learned is if you speak specifically like in numbers, I don't like, you know, most or least. I just know that it's every trend or every mission or every movement starts with just two people out of 100. Just two people have to say, you know what? It actually makes sense. I agree with you. I share your notion. Let me just, and then the other people, there is a famous video,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The
dancing guy.
dancing guy. So it's the biggest mistake for people, like whenever you start something new, you just say, oh, the whole world has to love it. And I know, no, just two out of 100 people, if they just say, you know what, I'm with you, and they say, you don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to like sell anything to anyone. You don't need, they just say, yeah, I get it. And that's all you really need. You don't need to go out of your way, because if it's really something of a value, the right people will connect and say, yeah. And I see that it may not be necessarily super perfect at this point. It's with every initiative. You start every initiative. If people don't understand, a lot of people, it's like it has to be perfect and everybody has to fall in love immediately, and I have to have it all figured out. And if you really look at any initiative from that angle, it becomes impossible to do anything. That's why people choose, a lot of people say, you know what, let me just settle for my, you know, crappy job or whatever, and just I'd much rather not do anything.
It's easier.
What's that?
Easier.
It's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier for some, but the pain of me to settling for something, knowing this, it's like I can't take, like I can't, I'll be, you know, not for me again. And a lot of people, again, a lot of people choose to, I'm not judging any, that's not my place. What's also was important for me, that every minute or every second of really our life, it's our choice. It's really our choice. And at some point I realized that like my choice, again, I'm not going to talk much about anybody else, but my choice is that, okay, on one hand, I can be a commentator of what other people do. I can be a judge of other people's behavior or whatever. Or, you know what, or the other choice, I said, I'll put every ounce of my energy and every second of my time just doing the best that I can. That's like, what else I can do? Especially in such a, you know, fluid, really, the world is going, I guess, crazy. I honestly don't pay much attention of how crazy it becomes. I just say the only thing that I can actually do is to help somebody else to be the solution-oriented person, not the problem perpetuator. And it happens in every single piece of news, in every piece of information, in every action. And again, once you learn to do this, it's just so much more rewarding to live that way, that you just, like you live in the world of solutions, really. People that are building their dreams, people that are accomplishing something, people that are working through something, trying to figure something out, solve it, go through challenges, but with this, or you just say, you know what, let me just go to the other part where everything is doom and gloom. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Why? It's such a disservice to yourself first and foremost to live really in such a world. And all it is a choice. You can justify it as a choice. Oh, I've been doing it for so many years, I guess I will have to continue. Or because everybody else, every one of my neighbors or friends is doing the same thing, I have to continue, like I have to do the same thing. And remember me, you don't owe anything to anyone that way. It's just that's your life, you know, it's, remember that the joke, if I may, right? Can I say a joke from here, right? There's two people, you know, these two people, they're walking on a cemetery, right? And one says, look at this, you know, the stone. It says like a person was born in 1900 and passed in 2000, and they lived for 15 years. Right, remember?
Yeah.
So this guy like, so what happened? Like, there's 100 years between those 2 days. Why? What do you mean they lived only for 15 years? Because you don't understand. It's the 15 years when they really lived life to the fullest. They traveled. They had a good time. They worked. You know, they partied. Whatever they did, they lived life. He goes, it's not 100 years. They just lived for 15 years. He goes, oh. He goes, whenever I die, I guess my stone will say he was born dead. So that's really all these things. Again, you can take it as a morbid, or you can take it as an inevitable thing and say, it's going to happen anyway. Why be upset about this? You may as well join. It's like I shared this, just came to me, the analogy of a vacation, right? Just because your vacation is going to be over soon, doesn't mean that, okay, I'm going to sit and I'm not going to go on the beach, or I'm not going to go and have a good time. Are you on vacation here? Like, enjoy, have a great time. That's how I really, you know, you can really treat life like this and say, yes, you have, you know, like, that could be really as a vacation. You can take it as, and I'm not saying it lightly. Again, I was not born knowing the language or having accomplished. I was not born with any of this. I didn't have the American passport to travel around the world. This was not my beginnings. Yet through hard work, through your choices and everything, you accomplish anything. And I'm not here to brag it, I guess. I'm just here to share the excitement, because for a very selfish reason, I have to say. The reason for that, because when I go to restaurants or I go on the streets or whatever, I want to see more happy people. Because this is kind of what surrounds me every day in the life, not grumpy, not people who are trying to cut you in traffic and do and justify like why it's done and everything. Just want to see people like anywhere I go, people that love what they do, feel happy, feel appreciative of one another. That's just like a very selfish reason, because we're all, that's my real understanding that we're truly part of one. That's really how it comes back, not in any, I guess, ambiguous way, but in every. So anyway, back to right.
I want to share a quote
Sure.
here, because this came across my feed this morning, and it was perfect. And I have, let's see, Buckminster Fuller. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we're doing. I feel like that's what we're doing here at the center. That's what we do through New Thought. Being open at the top, that's what that means to me, right? This is that we don't have to fight anything else that's out there. Let's just focus on solutions and what it is that we want to see next. Happy people.
Yes.
Happy people who get up in the morning and they're excited to do whatever is theirs to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
So back, I just get carried away, because for me it's for me everything that I do, it's not transactional, it's very personal. So I want
Do we
to
want
share
to do the
kind of
video of WECO?
Sure, if you want to.
We have a little short.
I'll
it's-
just
it's
give
only
you
like a minute.
give a
Go
little
ahead.
bit. I'll try to not to get carried away, please. Sorry, I cautioned you guys. It's my first time, so just one little thing. So the idea was, since I haven't really seen a solution in the world that actually helps person to very clearly identify their strengths and weaknesses, specific role in a very concrete way. Because everything is too ambiguous. You don't know where to start, how to start. What if you want to start something new? Where do I begin? So the idea was to, okay, I guess it's nothing. I have to put my money where my mouth is, and actually start creating. So with that was WECO was born. It's my lifetime mission. I love it, and it helps people specifically identify their roles in business based on the character. Not even based on experience necessarily, not based on everything, but based on the things that they love and kind of want to do. It may be a skill that underdeveloped or not developed at all, but but intrinsically, it's like when people find out about their roles, it's like, you know what, yeah, I always wanted to do this, I just didn't have a chance to do this. Or And then it takes you further. You can either launch your own idea and your own project and then kind of assemble a team, all the compatible. It's very important, compatible people, personally and professionally. Or you can search for other people, really, other people's project. So I've been doing it in stealth mode primarily, right? I was just, because over the past few years I was quite, enjoying life more than building because it became important, and was kind of working for, waiting for the serendipitous moment where you just say, because one time, one day I knew that it's just so much in demand that it's just a matter of time when I feel comfortable and people feel comfortable with me. You can possibly introduce it, and if people find it valuable, we can really grow it, to the moon. So that's kind of where we are right now. So with that, I'm, yeah.
Very
So
good,
let's put
yes.
the-
So it's been in
It all
stealth mode
starts
for a
with
little bit.
you.
We'll
So
listen to the
we
video.
will begin by creating your profile and understanding what makes you, you. We will help you craft an attractive bio. Next, we will go through the causes that matter to you, passions that drive you, your objectives, preferred work location, and languages you speak. Then we'll move to the specific skills that you would like to use in your own or other projects. To help you determine the best project roles, you will be offered a simple and insightful personality quiz. Your profile creation will be concluded with the compensation that you are willing to receive and a possible investment that you may want to offer. Once your profile is created, you will have an option to start your own project or business. Or you can search for an existing one that is looking for you and your skills.
Thank you. So that sums it up. Yeah.
Let's see if we can go to the next slide.
It all starts with you.
Oh.
So,
Oops. Okay, so I've created a WeCo profile, and my first project is the hub. And if you look at that figure 8, the infinity symbol there, it's got all of these different little symbols on it. I don't know if you can see from where you're sitting. But they refer to different areas of business or a project, whatever project you might be putting together. When you have put a business together, you're doing your, you need your legal, you need your financial people, you need your marketing, you need all of these different pieces and parts. And what Simon and his team have done is take those different areas and break them down into the roles that are necessary. Like within marketing, you need your storyteller, you need your social media person, you need all of these different roles that go under marketing and under finance and whatever. So 83 different roles, 83 different things. And I do a lot of them. I think, what is my profile has like 28 different roles,
Yeah, 25.
25 different roles that I have within those 83. But they're things that I enjoy doing. There's a lot of stuff on there that you don't want me to do. Right? I'm okay holding the microphone. I'm okay being the talker. I'm that. But you don't want me handling the books. You don't want me doing the scheduling. You don't want me to do things that require a lot of detail. That's not my jam. But to have somebody else on a team that loves to do that, imagine bringing all these different people together that have great skills, great passion for the thing that they do, working on your project, or you work on their project, and either for cash or for barter, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like when I started my ministry here, we brought in an accountant, and accounting can be a little bit dry, right? A little bit, but the accountant I spoke to said, I have 2 loves, 2 passions in my work. One of them is accounting, the other is classical music. He says, I love a symphony. Now, they don't seem like they're related, right? He said, when I look at a client's books, when I look at their financial picture, for me, it's like a symphony. All of the pieces need to work together. The P&L works with this statement and that statement, and when everything balances at the end, it's like a beautiful thing. I'm like, I want you handling all of my money. Right? When you bring that kind of passion and joy to something, isn't that, so much better than, you don't want me looking at it like, oh God, do I have to do this, and putting it off and putting it off. No, you bring people that love it. And it's a whole different idea than feeling like you have to be good at everything, right? Like, I'm not so great at this, so I need to practice that. No, leave that aside. Bring somebody else into the team, into your picture that loves doing that. And guess what? Then we're all happy. We all love what we're doing. Isn't that awesome?
Thank you.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sold.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
Yes,
This is like one-stop shopping.
Thank you. That's exactly.
one stop.
You need an attorney,
Exactly.
marketing, you need it's all.
Yeah,
But
let's
it's very,
get the microphone so people can hear, because at home they're not hearing you.
yeah, thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
So I'm seeing it as one, if you have a project, it's one-stop shopping.
Yep.
If you need an attorney, you need a social media person, you need someone who can do marketing, whatever it might be, this is one place to go and everything's there.
Yep.
And these are people who are doing their passion.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Isn't
Finally,
that a
finally,
beautiful
right?
thing?
So I just want to add to this one thing that we are sitting here like in the room. We usually, we don't know much about, even if we know a person for a few decades often, we don't know every professional aspect, what they like, all the ideas that they have, all the skills that they, but we could be sitting right next to each other at the center right here, not knowing that the person that we're actually maybe looking for could be sitting right here. Only because we're used to fitting ourselves into like a piece of paper called resume, or like into one box. Oh, this person just a nurse, or this person is, but right now, especially through AI, and so many jobs and everything are being displaced, and need, a lot of people need to reinvent and develop different passions and interests. You need really a place which you can just plug in and say, I know that I've been doing nursing for 25 years, but I actually always wanted to do a little bit of a social media or learn a little bit how the contracts work, or how to, how to do the scheduling part, because this is what I really like. It's not the nursing. So many different aspects that right now the economy itself forces us to be a little bit more open to different opportunities, and we don't know how to find today each other. We really don't, because we only have one little label for each other typically, and that's really where it ends.
So we had another?
Yeah.
We had a question back there first.
Well, actually, it was more of a statement. What I realized as an entrepreneur is that my passion and why I went into business is one thing, but because of the nature of running a business, there are all these other pieces of it that needs other people who can do those things. I didn't go into that business to be a bookkeeper, for
Yeah.
example, and all the different hats that are needed in that. So you go through this feeling of shame and guilt as an entrepreneur when you can't rise to the occasion of every single thing that needs to be done to keep you in compliance, especially if a license is involved. So I think that something like this really does help you to feel like you're not in the world alone. And also the same thing, even if you're not an entrepreneur and you're an employee as a part of a larger company, to be able to say, oh, I have a resource I can reach into, that makes you a more, I think, a better employee, to be able to say, oh, I have something in my back pocket I can help you with. Because it's about that, being able to help the company expand and grow.
Thank you.
Yeah. One of the things that we said right here, at the beginning of my ministry, was that we are a model center for spiritual living, as evidenced by the transformational impact we have on this community right here and how it ripples out. This could be really an amazing way for us to have an impact on our broader communities, not just, CSL Ocala, Marion County, keep on going, and then out into the larger CSL organization, if we could network one another with all of these different amazing skills, right? Somebody who loves to do social media. We don't really have that person that really loves it in that way in this community. What if it's somebody, who's not part of our community that can help us with that, right? Or any number of other things that we have going on. And we had another question here, or statement.
So basically, what you're speaking about is a universal truth. It's evident in nature. The end result is the forest. Every tree is part of that forest, and every tree develops its own root system to become that forest, part of that community. It's a universal truth that you're speaking of. And I think that the way that we look at things probably could be modified in that the missing link is that we don't understand the connection between living our passion and the creation of the abundance that's available. We chase the end result without creating the foundation first. We go out and get meaningless jobs to make $1. When you live your passion, the dollar comes.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you.
You had something? One more, and then I think we're going to wrap it up.
Okay, so there was a statement about, or I guess it's a philosophy, a principle about if you wait until your project is perfect before you put it out there, it's too late. So I'd like to hear just briefly a little bit more about that.
Yep.
That really sparked my curiosity. And then what would be a positive way, like I need a mantra for the opposite of that, because that's kind of it in the negative, what I don't want to be doing. So what would be that restated positively? Because I got an inner perfectionist that's larger than this building that needs direction from time to time.
Understood. Thank you. So I'll start with the positive, right? It's better to start with positive. Is that you are enough. That's what you have. What you have already. It's very simple. As simple as that. What you already have. It's more than enough for somebody who is looking at, if you truly know what you're already today bringing to the table, not making it perfect, somebody desperately wants already the very same thing that you already do today without perfecting. They can help you perfect it. I'll just give you an example. You can be sitting, I don't know, waiting for a, I don't know, transportation to go somewhere, and you're waiting for this like perfect car or whatever, but some, nice little decent car, passes by. What are you going to sit and wait? You just need to get from place A to place B, and the person will be happy to give you a ride, and you will be happy that you're on a time crunch. That's really, that's the first thing that came to mind. So just by being perfectionist, you're hurting yourself because you're not, and you're hurting other people that can already use the very same thing that you already have without perfecting it. Does that work?
I needed to hear that one too.
Yeah.
So I kind of see it in response to her. I kind of see it as build it and they will come, or start it and let it grow. You know what I mean? Like just start and it might not be perfect, but it will grow and people will find you and add to it, or the build it and they will come.
And the best way, just on one little note, I think the most important thing is to zone out of all the opinions, including your own, and just ask people who you think potentially would benefit from what you're offering. That's really the only opinion that matters. Ask them, I already have this, and make fair, honest disclosures. That's what it's about. Is that something that you would like? They will tell you, is it perfect? They'll say, oh my God, of course. And then I'll help you to perfect it.
Great. I think we need to start wrapping it up. We could talk here for another couple of hours, but if you are interested in checking it out, right, they can scan that QR code. There's a couple on the table there for either business or doing this on the personal level. And then you're offering us essentially it's $20 a month.
It's $20
right, to be
a
part
month,
of this network. And if you do it with the promo code for Ocala, then you do it for $15. So that's your whole investment. It's $15 a month. You don't have to sign any contracts,
No,
nothing
no,
like
no.
that.
And there are like 3 days free trial, and we have 30 days money back guarantee. Again, the idea is not to force anyone into anything. The idea is for you guys, for anyone, just to check it out and say, okay, I like it, I don't like it, it works for me, or it doesn't work for me. That's really the whole idea. Either it's not like, oh, everybody should sign. I find it valuable. That's how I will go about everything in life. Do I find it valuable? Okay, then it's worth the money. I don't find it, like, for example, for somebody who is launching something, on average, you can say 15 hours a month just being on that platform, 15 hours. Everybody's like, oh, I wish I would have more time. There's your time. 15 hours, but you don't need to reiterate who you need, what your project is about, which stage you're at, where you're at, how do you pay. You don't one-stop shop. You don't need any of that stuff. Here's the link, and the right people will filter through. There's a matching system. They'll come back, say, I want to do this role for you. Social media, accounting, whatever it is. So, or if you're looking for someone, then you don't know the context. I'm looking for this job, but I don't know where. Great. Again, our matching system. And the biggest benefit today that, of course, I will be for the, we can do personally like a group onboarding to show to you guys if you sign up in the next like couple of days. We can establish the group onboarding that I can personally, and I remain here, like I don't want to disappear, to really help you orientate, like how to really, I'm wrapping this up. I don't like ambiguity in any way. And I like when you can truly take charge of your life in a very practical manner. Okay, this is what I want to do. This is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. And I'm putting it out there, and other people will come to me. Same with the project. This is my idea. I don't need to go and, what do I do? How do I find a person? That's what WICO is all about. It's not perfect, speaking of, but it's pretty good. It's already working. I use it personally. We use it. Cindy's, right? Again, I don't want to, overhype it, but I think it's good. So,
There's a speaker, Simon Sinek.
yeah.
You know Simon Sinek,
Yes.
I'm sure. And he talks about goals and dreams and things like that. And he said that, Martin Luther King didn't say, I have a plan, right? He said, I have a dream. But here's the thing, though. You can have a dream, but then this thing lays out your plan,
Yep.
right? This is all of the pieces and parts that you need to make, to fulfill that dream. So you can have both, right? The dream and the plan for how to make it happen. And this is the closest thing. And I've started a couple of businesses to have it all laid out like that, like all of those pieces. I didn't know there was 83 different roles. I just knew that certain things had to be done, right? You have to have your money person and your legal and all of that stuff. But this really is, that's a gift. Your gift, I think, is as a strategist
Yep.
and as a solutionary.
Yeah.
That it's not just pie in the sky, not just big dreams, but here is how you connect the dots and how you make it happen.
And just one more thing, that the idea was, again, the big idea of Cindy shared, if I may, right? The really to make it, to make Ocala Center really a role model, like for, a model for other communities to follow. Like if we can embrace it and see how within community we can start growing different projects, different businesses, and really become a very sustainable, in a way, not to go and, if I can say that, right, not to go out and ask for donations, but really become a really sustainable center that other people can come and learn and from and also improve. That's kind of the next Cindy's share. Is that okay? I'm
That's
sharing?
absolutely, yes, absolutely. That we have a whole community in Ocala that's working with each other on these great projects. And when you see what some of those projects are, what people are working on, it's really inspiring. But that's probably for our work session.
Yes.
We'll schedule a work session
you.
for anybody who wants to sign up for
Yeah.
WECO so they can get the, like onboarding
Yes.
onboarding for
Thank
that.
you.
So anything else before we close out? Yes, Elaine.
The philosophy behind the entire program that you're talking about was well known many, many years ago by the famous Greek philosopher Goethe,
Okay.
who wrote until one is committed, there is always hesitancy, the chance to draw back. I'm sure you've heard that one before.
I haven't. I honestly have, but I'll look into it.
Look it up. It
Yeah.
speaks exactly about what you're talking about.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Simon. Thank you
you
so
so
much for sharing your story. We have one more question or statement? Dasha?
you.
You can stay there.
I just wanted, can you hear me? I just wanted to remind everyone about the chakra workshop after the service today. Patricia's doing $25, and it's 1:30 to 3:30.
Excellent. That's in an hour. So let's get through this last little part here. This is the time that we celebrate our abundance. We don't put a price tag on our programs, on Sunday mornings. So, but your donations really help support all of the work that we're doing. And so if you'd like to say this affirmation along with me to celebrate our abundance, it is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. Do y'all feel that? Do you know that you're blessed? Yes. We are all a blessing. And these are ways that you can give to our community. Once that number is programmed into your phone, all you do is put the amount that you want to give, and it goes right from your account to ours. And that number is 352-320-5110, or you can go to cslocala.org. We take money all kinds of ways here, I'm just saying, We take a text to tithe, we take checks, all of that. And we do need it all to keep things running. And on that note, I want to say a special thank you to the people who have donated to the hub. We've got some new furniture in the back. We've got some other purchases that we're looking to make. But if you want to see our progress, go back there and check out our community workspace. And we already have one client working in there. So. Also, Erin has prayer requests. If there's anything happening in your life right now that you would like a little extra prayer support, you fill out one of those forms, and then myself and Donna, Norma, Reverend Peggy, our practitioners, pray over those. And so I'm just going to take a moment to give thanks for our offering. And we take that moment to just breathe in that power and presence that lies within and all around us. I am part of that, as is each one that is here today. I am so grateful for our time together, for this message, affirming that the seeds that were planted really sprout in people's hearts and minds, and that we continue to be this place where people come to learn together, to grow, to practice, and to live full out. I give thanks for the donations, for the generosity that precedes them. I give thanks for everyone that gives to this center, whether it is through their time, their talent, or their treasure. And I give thanks also for any prayer requests, knowing that the answer to each and every prayer already exists in the mind of Spirit, and that it is moving right now to its right and perfect outcome. And so I release these words with joy and gratitude and protection over each and every one of us as we go into our respective lives. I give thanks for all of it, and so it is. Yes, Norma.
Can you guys have the work day after the 26th?
We will have the work day. Can we have the work day after the 26th?
Yes.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we'll put that date out. Look for it on the community chat, and of course, we'll talk about it
Yeah.
here on a
Yeah.
Sunday once we set the date. Do we have it? Yes, ma'am? Well, if it's in April, will it be in April? Can we do that in April?
First part of April.
First part of April, yes, then it will be in the newsletter for sure.
First half, yeah.
Excellent. All right, do we still have any children in the room or in the facility? We do? Yes? Or ourselves? We have ourselves, our inner children. Let's do the blessing for ourselves, right? All right. Oh, we do have one. Come here, beautiful. Should be our representative of love and little people. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
This little light of mine
And know for yourself too, right?
Little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, oh, let it shine, shine.
All right. So we rub our hands together, send a little love, and we say this together for ourselves and for our little ones here. We honor you. We see your light. May it shine on all that you do. And so it is, and so it is. And so with that, our closing blessing, if you want to say it along with me, you're welcome to do that. Spirit lives, moves, and breathes as us in a wise and loving universe. We go forth guided, protected, and free, trusting love, trusting life, knowing that all is unfolding perfectly. And so it is, and so it is. All right. With that, have a fabulous week, everybody. Hope your workshop is awesome, Patricia. Stay. Okay. About an hour and a half, so you have a little time to go and grab a bite.